So I want to welcome you to the show today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. We have a wonderful show for you today, a pastor, a wonderful, wonderful show. And I do so hope that you go ahead and tune in and don't forget to dare to be different. Here we go. We're getting ready to start this thing. And we're back. Thank you so much again. Getting closer to God, Yahweh, whatever you want to say. I mean, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, it's still getting closer to the Most High. And I have a pastor here who has a book, and we're going to introduce him. Thank you so much for being on the show. Please tell everybody who you are and what's the name of your book.
Hello. The name of my book is Making Room for God. I am Pastor Sam Houston at Changing Lives Community Ministries in Pleasant Hill in California. And it's good to be here.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for being on the show. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Let's go back into a little bit of time because people love to hear those stories. How did you know you were going to write a book, and how did you know you were going to be a pastor?
Well, both ones is I didn't know. Didn't know until actually I did it. The thing about it is I didn't know I was going to be a pastor. Something I didn't want to necessarily be. I was comfortable being in the back row, the back pew, or just helping people, not necessarily being in front. But God kind of led me in a different direction than some of the ministries that I was in. He just talked to me about really being grassroots and helping people, like one person at a time, kind of getting out the walls of traditional, trying to bring people in ministry. So I actually ended up starting a ministry. And the book came along kind of, my wife actually wrote a book. And of course, before then, I would never probably thought about writing a book. But I was doing I was reading some books, and God gave me this thing. And it's like, people should know this. And my wife said, why don't you write a book? And I was like, I am not capable of writing a book. So she just said, just write little things down. I just wrote little things down at a time. And it took over a period of maybe 3 years for me to actually do it. So,
that's kind of amazing what you said. You said you wrote little pieces down. So describe the little pieces that you wrote, because a lot of people don't understand that they too can write a book, even though you feel kind of incompetent, because I do too. It's not that. It's just maybe they're approaching it wrong. Tell me about your journey.
Well, kind of started because I read a book by Dr. Michael Gresham. It was called The Second Brain, and it was a fascinating book. It just tells you how much your body, your stomach in it itself sends signals independently of your own mind. And it fascinated me because I'm necessarily overweight, but how many things dictated actions that I necessarily didn't create in my own mind. And it really reminded me about the Bible and talking about the flesh and stuff like that. And it sent me down a really curious path to kind of understanding the impulses that tries to control me and tries to dictate actions that's outside the life that I'm trying to live for Christ. So I went to try to understand that a little bit more.
And so your journey took you to writing a little bit at a time.
Yes.
Not just like paragraphs or anything but just jotting down things that may have come to your mind.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. I read books. I read some other books. The Happiness Hypothesis, Desiring God. So as I was writing little things and as I was trying to formulate this word that God had given me, I was trying to create something. And I just think writing down little things at a time that God gave me, I was able to trying to help coalesce ideas and understand myself better,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of, making it not so overwhelming to try to put sit instructions together to make it make sense, because then I probably would have been outside my depth.
Mm. A lot of people feel like they can't write a book. And I mean, thinking about your journey, and making room for God, and the book that you just wrote, how does that now affect your life? Did you find that you began to make even more room for God since you've written that book?
Yeah. One of the things is that, if you have a revelation of God, if you get true understanding, it changes you because you're more aware. The Bible tells us that we need to be sober and aware. Sober, just being in a position to know and being aware of your surroundings. And to know yourself is actually to have more control, to be able to be discipled, to be able to discipline yourself when you understand an action that comes to you that may not be from you. That may be your stomach saying that you want sweets, or your stomach saying, I desire this. And if you understand the difference between your voice and then the voice that your body creates, you actually have more ability to be in control. And then it also comes to, if you can distinguish those two voices, you might be able to distinguish the voice that comes from God when He talks to you.
Mm.
So that's one of the major premises of making room for God, because you're making room for God in your own head by knowing the difference between your voice and the voice that your body creates.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know that that's not really, I mean, we're talking about making room for God, but making room for God, according to what you're telling me, is like there are three voices here. There's your voice, your second brain, which is your stomach area, the stomach, right? And then
Hmm.
there's the voice of the Most High, of God. And you have to be able to differentiate between the three. How have you been able to differentiate between the three? I mean, is it simple? Is it hard? Or is it something you're still trying to master?
Still trying to master, but it becomes easier. One of the things that help me on this journey, I go shopping, for different things, food, and I understand the things that I tell myself I'm not going to buy sweets. But when I get to the store, guess what happens is my body, or my there's a impulse to look for sweets, to walk by sweets, and for some reason there's a stronger impulse. Even when I said before I got to the store I didn't want to buy sweets. So that's what I'm saying, is that sometimes our impulses are the natural person, the physical person, and the Bible tells us that we have to fight the flesh, and that's what the flesh is. If you
Mm,
understand what the Bible tells us, now they scientifically got a word for it, where
mm.
there's a book that tells you that impulses come from within you. That's not you. It's just your stomach, your primordial brain thinking for you, that's just trying to stay alive.
Ice cream.
So
It's
yeah,
terrible.
so
It's ice
yeah,
cream.
so if you understand that, you in a position to do a little bit of more of kind of monitor and discipline yourself, because you know ultimately where it comes from.
Mhm. And so, does that make it easier for you now to get closer to God, to have more room for God, since you understand now where all of the interruptions are coming from?
Yes and no.
Oh, okay.
To be real, we're all humans, and we all have wants and desires and stuff like that. So every decision is independent. It's based on how you feel, based on the circumstances around you. It may become easier at one point, but it may be harder at other points, because things may not be going right in your life, and you'll depend more on your feelings than on who you want to be.
Mm,
That's where it happens with us. There's a variable factors that work that is at work at various times in our lives. Some go leads us to be more successful, but if we have a negative environment, there's less likely that you will be successful because you'll more likely to lean on the physical feeling part to make yourself feel better instead of standing in your spiritual, standing with integrity and standing in who you are and what you said you're going to be.
mm. So, Making Room for God, your book describes what can we say it describes? Does it help people to understand the difference between their brain and their stomach and then the voice of the Most High of God, or does it document your journey?
So basically what the book does is tries to get you to notice the actions in your life that may uh, reflect an emptiness or a place where you've created to make full. A lot of times things happen to us in our lives that makes us angry. We were abused, but we fill that up with something to protect ourselves, a mental kind of shield, um, because we don't want to feel victimized. But what we
Mhm,
do with that is we use that to take care of us instead of the word of God, letting
mhm,
things go because we can't let it go because we'll feel vulnerable.
mhm,
And we won't let God into that part of our lives because we're using sarcasm. We're using something else. We're using a drug. We're using codependent relationships. And when we recognize those things, we can actually move those things out of our lives and allow God into it. That's
mhm.
what I'm saying, making room for God.
Wow. Wow. That truly is revolutionary. I'm gonna say that that's because I knew about the second brain because I mean ice cream is all I got to say because I can say I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna have ice cream. Guess what I have in my freezer? Well, I mean, it's not like it's coconut ice cream basically. So I've made a step away from the traditional, but it's not working anyway. But I understand where you're coming from because you can make up your mind not to do something, and all of a sudden, like you said, when you're walking by that aisle, it's like, yo, you got to get some ice cream. You just can't
Hmm.
skip this aisle. You got to get cheese. You got to get all the things that that you shouldn't be having so much of. And so, yeah, definitely, I can concur that this is it's an issue. But with getting this book, with understanding the complexities of the situation as well as the fight to stay on track, this is going to be amazing. This is, I mean, I love what you've done. Thank you so much for doing this. You know, um, wow, where can people get the book? I mean, I know down below we have it on Amazon, and I've already put it up as a picture so people can see it. But people sometimes they want to contact you directly, or sometimes they want to buy the book. Where can people find you so that then maybe they can ask some questions?
Well, they can find me, I guess, Facebook, through Changing Lives Community Ministries, um,
Wonderful.
through the website, of course. That's the church that I pastor. Um, and right now, that's it. I wasn't doing this for no big gain or anything. It's
Mhm.
just a move of God. So right now, I self published it through Amazon right now. So that's primarily where it is, unless God moves me to where it should be on other platforms. But for right now, those are it.
Right. God can make miraculous things out of very small effort because you were faithful and you went ahead and you did it. Even though you didn't feel like as if that was something you could do, you did it anyway. And to me, that means a lot. And understanding the plight is it's just, I mean, a lot of people didn't know this. And now they do. And when they get the book, they'll know it even further. I want to thank you, Pastor, for being on the show. And definitely, you guys go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put that down as a banner. What was the name of the? It's on Facebook, right? Facebook. The
Yes,
name of the church.
Changing
Changing.
Lives Communities Ministries. Okay.
Okay. Well, this is what it is. People need to be able to reach you, and I think through the ministry is really good because this is your calling, even though you ran from it. This is your calling. So thank you so much, Pastor, for being on the show. I appreciate it, and thank you so much for making room for God.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to Dream Chasers Radio. And again, don't forget that you can reach Pastor at Changing Lives Community Ministry on Facebook, as well as you can go ahead and get the book on Amazon, Making Room for God, the paperback. And it's in large print by Samuel Houston Jr. Yay! And I want to thank you guys again so much for tuning in. It's been such a pleasure. And don't forget, you're not crazy. When you're hearing your stomach talk to you, it really is true. All right. Until next time, guys. Welcome back to the show. So I'm literally not going to give it to you. You know you're going to have to buy it, right? But you can hear it right here. So I want to welcome back to the show. This person here has done so many wonderful things with his career, with his life. I am such a fan. Amadeus, welcome back to the show.
Yaya, what's up? How we feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah. How you feeling?
You're good. You're smiling. You're radiating.
Definitely trying my hardest to be on the positive side. Definitely.
As we all should.
Definitely. So tell me what's going on with you. You got new music out. I mean, come on, just go ahead. Go ahead.
So I dropped my new album Any Day Now, the sequel. Originally the project was intended to be 3 EPs. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the pandemic hit. Ugh. So I think when we spoke last time, the pandemic had just hit. So, right. I was planning to do 3 EPs. I just had a lot of time, and then adjusting to the new ways of the world. Obviously, radio stations are closed, so we're broadcasting from home. So I thought, you know what? Let me go into the lab and let me actually create like an album, right? Because I put out 2 EPs. I haven't put out an album in a while, so you don't put out an album. So I put together an amazing body of work. It is probably my best body of work. I know a lot of artists say that. But for me personally, it's the first time that I've let people into my personal life. Mm-hmm. And I talk about things personally from my upbringing to infidelity issues to, issues I've had with my kids and politics and just the way the world is around us. And I kind of express this vividly and poetically on this project.
Wow. Did that help you psychologically to maybe advance a little bit further and to kind of release some things that it was on your shoulder before?
That's actually a great question because recently I've noticed that I'm depressed. Like when I was in the ending process of my album. I released my album on October 29th and I recorded like the last 3 records probably that month. And I never realized how depressed I was. Like, because, we're public figures. So every day we have to operate in a sense where we have to be smiling. We have to be the strong people. And as public figures, we don't have outlets. We don't got people to talk. We don't have people to talk to. So it ends up becoming bottled in. And you kind of just, you hide it away in fame or work or alcohol or just, partying. And you just never really deal with your issues head on. So absolutely on this project I was able to let some of the things off that were bothering me, even things that I didn't even know were bothering me once I tapped into who I was as a person.
Wow. That's a big deal what you said too, that you were able to release a lot of different things that you didn't even know you had, that you were able to release. But not only that, being that celebrity, being that public figure, people don't realize that it is a really lonely existence a lot of the time. And they wish they could be you. They wish they could do this. But they don't realize the toll that the publicity takes on your life and not being able to confide in people. Have you been able to find certain outlets now since you know about these, difficulties that you've had, even the ones that you didn't know you had? Are you able now to kind of vent a little bit more?
I would say no, because I'm still in the same space. So really, you know, I think people have safe havens, like places they feel safe. Yeah. And for me, my safe haven became the recording booth. So I let it out to more than one person. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I let it out to the world. But still, you know, if I'm if anything's bothering me, let's say like, you know, I got into an argument with my mom, or like you know, like I was explaining, my mom had COVID. It's not things that you kind of just talk to people about in a sense. You know what I'm saying? If you operating in a regular, maybe 9 to 5 space, or regular, like regular person, quote unquote, space, it may be easier, but so, you know, as a public figure, people have a tendency of using these things against you. So you tend to bottle them in. You know, instead of embracing you, they use it to attack you. Right. And it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? But you know, so yeah, just to answer your question, I would say no, but it feels like a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Well, that's a good thing.
Being able to talk about some of the things that I spoke about on the album.
So what's your favorite song on the album, and why?
Wow. My favorite song sonically wise, as a musician, is 90s Vibrations. And the reason why, it's because I always tell unsigned artists and even mainstream artists that one of the problems that I see with music is that artists with lyrics are not creating music for commercial spaces. So what that means is, like, you're creating music I can play in my car when I'm chilling with my friends, but you're not creating music I can play in a barbecue, or music that I can play at a mall, or music I could play in any space except 1 or 2 people. So to be able to create like an actual single, to give it like an R&B vibe, to have like someone singing on the hook, that's definitely my favorite record on the project sonically. My personal favorite record is track 10, Never Make It, because that's the record that I actually got to give insight into my life, into my upbringing, and I got to kind of answer people's questions as far as, like, you know, why do I have the drive that I have? Like, why did I choose to be a radio DJ when I didn't know how to DJ? Or why did I choose to learn film without learning film, or go on National Geographic? So I got to kind of paint a picture. And that record, I almost changed the title of the album, because that record I wrote about a specific apartment that I lived in Marble Hill, in the Bronx. Everything in that kind of confided into one apartment. So I almost changed the name of the album to 6E, that was the apartment that I lived in. I was like, you know what, let me just keep the album title. I was already committed to it. But yeah, Never Make It, track 10, definitely.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't thank you, Amadeus. You know, what would be your advice for a person, you know, that wants to aspire to be like you and to be that celebrity person? Because obviously being a celebrity, being in the public eye, isn't all it's cut out to be. But what kind of advice can you give a person who aspires to be where you are today?
2 answers. One would be, don't chase the look, chase the result. I think a lot of people get caught up in the look. Like, they do things to look a certain way, but there's no result. Then you can inadvertently add yourself into a money pit. You know, for like an unsigned artist, you know, he's chasing the look, or I want to look like I'm with this guy, look like with this guy, but you're not getting any results. So you just end up in a money pit. So results, number 1. And 2, I think the biggest mistake that people make, and I see this consistently with just my peers and people around me, they chase the fame instead of the money. You got to chase the money. If the fame is meant for you, then it'll come. Me personally, I didn't ask to be recognized for anything. I was chasing the money to feed my family. Because I was chasing the money and I was doing business in the correct manners on all aspects and learning my crafts and things, I inadvertently just put myself in the spotlight. That is how it naturally progresses. So I can still have a life, but there are a lot of moments where, like, for example, I was having dinner in the city yesterday, and, like, people are coming up, and Shade 45, so it happens. But again, it's about executing it correctly, Yaya. And I think a lot of people don't do that. I think they're just too worried about, like you kind of said it right, like they're worried about the fame. You're worried about being the guy. Like, no, just worry about getting money, and it'll happen for you the right way.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. I want to play a song, but I want you to choose which one. So we're going to go ahead and play a song. Amadeus, you're going to go ahead and choose that. And while we're waiting for Amadeus to decide which song he wants me to play, I want to thank you again so much for tuning in, not only on dreamchasersradio.com and all of our podcast stations, but also on 100.9 FM and 1580 AM. And that's WCCF on iHeartRadio. So Amadeus, have you decided which song you want me to play?
Yeah, let's play 90s Vibrations. Let's get into it. It's a great feel-good record. It kind of has like that Slum Village, Common, Talib Kweli instrumentation with the classic New York bars that people expect from you.
Oh yeah, that's that 90s 2000 vibe, baby. Yeah. We gonna have to bring out the Dro and the Duchess for this one. Bring it out. Yeah. Vibe.
Let's just love and vibing, love all night.
Vibe. This is that old school joint though. We gonna have to rock out. Let's do it.
Let's just love and vibing,
yeah.
love all night.
Youngin'.
You're down.
Check.
I'm down.
Look, hey yo, politely, shorty has something to excite me. Tryna show a gangster what's the meaning of a wifey. Hydro smoke young, I steam on the nightly. Flow hot, but my wrist gleam cause it's icy. Young eyes rocking it all day, I get it anywhere. Baby girl gave me top in the hallway. Swag on $1 billion, clocking our forte. I'm bagging up $1 million while I'm watching our foreplay. Meanwhile, I let bread stack to a mean pal. I always keep that money on call like speed dial. I could never see how he's foul when I could get your man jewels taxed faster than E-Foul. I got this. Every time I spit is with the hotness. That's why your girl dancing on my countertop topless. I scorched this from the projects to the office. The boss of the bosses flossing in my fortress. Every night hitting her up. You get high off the green. Me and her burn pip if she want. Plus your chick look thick from the front. She been high off my love so long. She was my 4 blunt. What's up? Vibe. Oh, that 155th Branson flow, baby. That's right. Vibe.
Let's just love and
Vibe.
love all night.
Yeah.
You're down. I'm down.
Look, hey yo, you know your boy been the balls like Hugo. No auto tune though, while I'm sipping on Nouveau. Mix it in the kitchen, I'm flipping wherever you go. Caffeine spaced out like they sitting on Pluto. It's true though, my boo know I'm locking it down. Flow harder than concrete when I'm rocking my sound. While you handcuffing your bro, locking it down. I keep it in the penthouse, we on top of the town. Yeah, I bag that, beat it up like I never had that. Standing ovation from behind, make a clap. She clutching her abs, my love in the last. I gave her back shots like I laid a gun on her. Lighting the sour, taking what's rightfully ours. Young, I hit it up every night on the hour. Plus that la got you in the zone with the fam, got you open. How the hell you going home to your man? Yeah.
I did.